Do you know why history repeats itself? Because people don't learn. If you make a mistake and you don't learn from it, you continue to make it. Well, if you look at things like a fractal, humanity as a larger humanity as a whole, if you were to say humanity as a whole would be high up on the fractal and then say spilling the coffee in the morning every morning because you're rushing, that would be a small mistake. So say in the morning you continually make the same mistake, spilling your coffee, and eventually it spills onto your leg and you burn yourself. It's escalating. Well, just like humanity as a whole, not learning from the mistakes that we are making to the environment through our daily interactions with people, by allowing politicians and corporations to run us into the ground. This is a continuous, perpetual cycle that happens over and over again. The only thing that changes is the faces, the time, the ages, the technology, the words, but the meanings are all the same. Back in the days of Egypt, for example, or Babylon, or even back in, if you want to go back to Atlantis, but it's so far back that the data is just jumbled and it's hard to really pinpoint for sure exactly what happened. But if you can go back to Egypt where there's more data, you'll see the way things were, the slavery, the oppression, then how things progressed from there, how religion became more dominant, how the gods became less prominent, became more about one god instead of a poly. It went more, or instead of a monotheistic, which is what it used to be in Egypt, then it went to a poly, which is one. Then you keep going on, and then through the Stone Ages, and then all of a sudden the Dark Ages is what I mean. The Dark Ages, where people started to read, and then they started to give people money in next couple centuries. Then all these corporations started to rise and technologies started to blossom, and now we're here in 2017. And they're talking about climate change, fucking all the different animals going extinct, all the pollutants in the air, water, food, GMOs, vaccines, fluoride in the water, chemtrails in the air. Even fake suns up there, and NASA proton stars, the CERN, the D-Wave stuff, the Large Hadron Collider. You keep going on and on and on and on. But the theme still remains constant. History is repeating itself. It's just different cogs in the wheel. Some cogs are bigger, some are smaller, just like the Mayan calendar. That's what 2012 is more about. It's not about so much the world coming to an end. That's not what apocalypse means. It's like a new beginning. It's another cog in the wheel. One cog has finished its rotation, then there's another cog turning. Could be smaller or bigger. It seems like it's bigger because it's getting to the big event, right? Or maybe it's getting smaller because the little cogs turn, right? If they got a big cog, it takes longer for one rotation, so a smaller cog will be less rotation. So maybe the cogs are getting smaller. It started off as one big cog where civilization was less advanced, and then as it got more advanced, the cogs got smaller as you got to focal points of progression. So as soon as we get to the final cog, that's when shit goes boom, the switch is flicked, restart button, whatever happens, There's lots of movies made about it. The Day After Tomorrow, 2012, The Day the Earth Stood Still. You could keep going and going and going. Independence Day. They just keep going and going. There's so many different scenarios put out there. It's all a representation of what's happening. Time seems linear in this dimension, but it's actually stacked up on top of itself. Each event has different moments within the event that can be accessed, and you can see them, see the effects of them day to day. And the more you allow yourself to be able to take a step back, the more you can see these things. Anyways, joints out. That's finished.